Yeah, it's Dev Hawk. Wow. It's cold in my city, need a make just a roll in the winter. Mommy, he's a L, come and roll with a winner. They had me locked in the cell and I was gone till November. Not $1 for my lunch, so I stole me a dinner.
Are you tired of feeling powerless when it comes down to dealing with child support and you just ready to go ahead and take control of your life and your whole situation? But today, what we're going to learn is a few simple steps that you can actually take after this video to go ahead and get that ball rolling and put yourself in the best position. And we're also going to break down how you need to understand the legal strategies when it comes to understanding what due process is, jurisdiction, things of that nature. Okay, I'm going to give you some real tools that you can use to regain your rights and terminate the whole child support obligation that they put on you. And then after that, I'm going to highlight the most important things that you need to have. Basically, like changing your mindset, how to be prepared, and then putting together that strategy. So if you're ready, go ahead and buckle up. It's your boy Dev Hawk, Title 4D University, your coach, teacher, professor, and I want to thank you for joining us and learning how to get started with fighting your child support case. Now, I will be very, very transparent, and I'll say this. What you're about to learn today is a very simple process, but just because it's simple does not mean that it's easy. So please don't take this lightly. You're dealing with a whole institution who is making thousands and millions and thousands of dollars off of your ignorance. Let's go ahead and change the game a little bit. Let's get you to a point where you're not in the ignorant position. You're coming from a place of knowledge, understanding, strategy, and execution. Are you ready? Now, the first thing is changing your mindset. And I cannot stress how important it is to literally change your mindset. Well, Dev, what does that mean? A lot of you guys are coming from this perspective that child support has to happen. Every story that you've ever heard about child support was that there's no way to get out of it. You believe that your state is the worst state. You believe that your state is the state that rides with the female. They ride with the mother. And you feel that it's almost impossible to get out of this position. Well, I'm here to tell you that the mindset is the first thing that needs to change. You need to get rid of that thought. You need to get rid of everything that you thought you knew about child support, everything that you've ever heard about child support, and start learning from a very new perspective. And I'll also say this. You might have been hearing some things from me. You might have been following other gurus when it comes down to this whole child support thing, but I'll tell you what. I've helped over 139 people as of the taping of this video. I've beat child support twice myself. I know that everything that I'm going to tell you is factual. It's not based off of my opinion. It's based off of the law. The only thing that my opinion is going to do for you is help you build that strategy. And I believe that the strategy is the most important thing that you need. So we have to start with the mindset, okay? Now, you have to put yourself in a new way of thinking. How are we going to do that? First thing is do not believe anything that I tell you. And most people might say, Dev, how can you say that? And I'm here listening to you. I know that what I'm telling you is factual, but how would you know? You need to go and fact check. Go and do the research. And we'll talk about research here in a second, but don't believe anything that anyone tells you without going to go and fact check, okay? You cannot be lazy. So that's another part of the mindset. This will take work. If you want to beat these people, it will take work. Remember, they go to work. And when I say they, these judges, magistrates, and everybody at the child support agency, Monday through Friday, 9 o'clock to 5 o'clock. And this is what they do every single day. You have to get and meet them you have to meet them with their work ethic. And you only have your case to worry about. So I'm going to say in changing your mindset, get yourself focused, okay? Put yourself in a position that if you're taking at least 20 to 30 minutes a day when you're undistracted and all you're doing is focused on training, studying, and building out strategy. All right, so let's talk about research for a minute. It's very critical that you do your own research because obviously every state operates differently. Okay, every judge, magistrate, commissioner, they're all going to have a different way of doing things. So it is not as easy as copy and paste. You can't take these things that you learn and immediately think that I'm going to go in here and I'm going to say this and I'm going to get the victory, right? I'll even show you some success stories. And just because you see these success stories does not mean that you're going to be able to use the same exact process that they've used in order to get the results. It's going to require you to do some research, okay? So that means understanding what your rights are as an American. Did you know that you have a right as a citizen to certain things like being a parent, making the decisions for your child? The courts have no authority, yet we give them all of the authority. And why do we do that? Based on our ignorance. So make sure that you start doing the research. And the next thing you have to do is start understanding the difference between the state and the federal laws. Understand that you can use these state laws to your benefit, only the ones that benefit you, but for the most part we use federal law. And the reason we use federal law is because federal law is considered the law of the land based on something called the supremacy clause. And once you start understanding what the supremacy clause is, you'll never let a judge, commissioner, or magistrate, even the referee, tell you that, oh, you can't use federal law here. That's why you have to buckle down on getting that research done, okay? You have to use the legal databases. One of the best places that I like to go for research is Cornell Law. So, for instance, if I want to find something, let's say I'm looking up the definition of jurisdiction. So, what I would do is I would go to my search engine, Google, Yahoo, Bing, whatever you use, and I'm going to type in jurisdiction. And right after jurisdiction, I'm gonna hit the space bar and I'm gonna type in Cornell. When I hit enter, that search engine is going to link you directly to Cornell. When you go to Cornell, the definition of jurisdiction will be there, and you can now research and understand what jurisdiction is from a legal database, a real resource. Okay. The next thing that you can use is Google Scholar. Google Scholar is probably one of the best places to find your case laws, and it's one of the best places that you can read articles that have been written based on child support, based on custody, and based on things that refer to the law in general. Okay? And with research, please guys, make sure that you stay persistent, because if you're not moving in a persistent manner, you're going to find yourself having high intensity in the beginning, and then things are going to slow down for you. And when things slow down for you, next thing you know, your court date is coming up, and now you're trying to rush back to get that high intensity. Stay persistent from the beginning with your research. Stay persistent from the beginning all the way through, and that way you will ensure yourself that you are fit, you're ready, and you don't have to try to do a crash course. You don't have to try to cram in a bunch of things before your court date. So persistence is key. And when you're doing research, guys, one thing that you have to remember is you need to study case law. Now, let me point this out. All case law doesn't have to be about child support in order for you to use it effectively to help you with your child support or your custody case. The case law just needs to be based around a particular topic or subject that you wish to initiate, because you don't want to go into these courts and just say things and not have any proof. Case law is what's going to help you because a judge has already made a decision based on that topic. Okay, so you need to study your case law and make sure that you're constantly taking notes. And after you take a bunch of notes within your research, get organized, rewrite those notes into a place where it's organized, where you can have everything for a particular topic in one section so you know exactly where you're going. This will help you immensely. And the last thing, guys, you want to go ahead and connect with the network, okay? You want to get around individuals who are dealing with the same issues, who have the same common goal. Because if you have a network of people, it will make your research a lot easier, and it will make the process of everything that you're doing that much better. And that's why I encourage you to go ahead and join the Title 4D University, because in Title 4D University, not only do you have direct links to all the research that you need, but you have that network. We have a private chat where you get to connect and talk to other individuals. You can share information, they share information, and the chat be buzzing. To be honest with you, the chat be buzzing. So make sure that you get into some type of network. And if you're going to join any network and you're thinking about it, make sure that you tap in with Title 4D University. We have everything for you wrapped up in a box. It's easy. So when it comes down to putting a strategy together, there's a certain formula that I like to follow, and I'll share that with you, and you can use it for your benefit. All right. So let's break down what are the critical steps. All right. So step number one is understanding due process. Due process is literally the foundation of everything that you need when it comes down to fighting child support as well as custody. And if you don't understand due process, you're never going to be as effective as you could be. So most people make the mistake of going to these courts and they say, "Hey, you violated my right to due process," but never really explaining what the due process violation is. So I'm able to look at any case in any state and I can determine if there's a due process violation based on this one key fact. I know the definition of due process. And it's not a very long definition, so I implore you to study the definition and actually memorize it. So here's the definition as it stands. Procedural due process refers to the constitutional requirement that when the government acts in such a way that denies a citizen of life, liberty, or property interest, the person must be given a notice, the opportunity to be heard, and the decision made by a neutral decision maker. That is the cornerstone of due process. You need to know that there's 6 elements, okay? 3 elements when it refers to deprivation. They cannot deprive you of your life, your liberty, or your property. Now, your life is very simple. We're talking about they can't kill you, okay? They can't take your life. But what else? We're talking about liberty. Liberty is your freedom, guys. This refers to them taking your driver's license. This refers to them revoking your passport, not allowing you to travel. This actually refers to the freedom, the liberty that you have to raise your children and make your own decisions when it comes down to your children. They cannot deprive you of that. And the last thing that they can deprive you of is your property interests. What is that? That is your property being the money that you go out and work for. Okay, they can't deprive you. They can't just take your money from you. They can't just make court orders and make you responsible to give of your property to someone else. Okay, so is your money, is your bank accounts, is your taxes, is your lottery winnings, is all these things refer to your property interest. Okay, they can't just take it without giving you a notice. They must give you a clear notice before they take the action. So here's an example. Let's say you owe $5,000 in arrears, and these people want to make you pay that money. So they need to send you a notice and say, "Hey, Dev, you're $5,000 in arrears. Okay, we are going to suspend your driver's license until you bring that payment full." So that's the notice. They gave me the opportunity by telling me, "Hey, you owe this money and we intend to take the driver's license." Also within that notice, it should say something like you have 30 days to respond, you have 30 days to make a payment, and or if you feel that the amount that we're saying that you owe, or you feel that the process that we are about to take is something that you want to challenge, you can have a court date. That comes in the second element, guys, which is the right to be heard. You have the right to have a hearing. You have a right to acknowledge the fact that I don't owe $5,000. Maybe you owe $4,999.99. It's not $5,000, right? So they have to give you a notice. They have to give you an opportunity to be heard. And let's say that you have the notice. Let's say that you've had the hearing, and the person who made the decision decided, despite all the facts that you gave them, they're still going to go ahead and rule against you. Well, the question that you now have to ask is this person a neutral party? Are they a neutral decision maker? Well, it's very highly unlikely that they are not if you're dealing with child support, because for a couple of reasons. Number one, the state is under contract with the title for the agency, which means they get paid from the title for the agency under a contract. And every state in the United States of America has this contract with the title for the agency. Okay, so that's number one. Number two, if they're being paid by the individual who wants to take away my particular freedom, my particular right, and they make that decision to do so, that you can be a neutral party if you're incentivized, because they are incentivized based under the law 42 USC 658A. We'll talk more about that later, but when it comes down to understanding due process, you have to look at these particular factors and you can apply it to almost anything when it comes down to child support. Now, the next thing that I will say is this: when you're looking at due process, not every due process violation will automatically trigger or automatically initiate that your child support case should be dismissed. Some things might just deal with a particular instance. So, quick example, speaking on driver's license, if they violated your right to take your freedom when we're talking about your driver's license, you can call them out on that and you can get remedy. But just because they violated your rights when it comes down to your driver's license is not enough to get your case thrown out, but it is enough to get your license restored to you immediately. I hope that made sense. But let's move on to the next section. All right, so guys, now the second step is you have to get a court date. And there's a variety of ways of getting a court date. A lot of people feel like, yo, Dev, I don't know how to get back in court. So one of the easiest ways to get a new court date is to apply for a modification. Number one, a modification is guaranteed to you every 36 months, for which they have to do a review. But if there's an extreme change in circumstances, you can put in for a modification to express that there's a change in circumstances. Well, circumstances is basically whatever you want them to be. But one of the easiest circumstances that occur with people is there's a change in income. So, say for instance, in your particular situation, you were working a job when you first got put on child support that was paying you $25 an hour. Well, the change in circumstance can be that now you are only making $15 an hour or $20 an hour. That's an extreme change in circumstance. Maybe you got fired, okay? Maybe your job shut down and you were laid off. Well, these things are extreme changes in circumstance. And because of that, that gives you the authority to go to the courts and ask that there be a modification. When you're in a modification standpoint, you can then have what's called a change to the child support obligation. Now, sometimes in modifications, they can request that your payments go up. They can also ask that your payments be reduced. And you can have your payments reduced from whatever you're paying down to zero. That's a reduction in payment. So that is another strategy. You want to get a new court date. Here's another way that you can get a new court date. You can file a motion to have your case heard by an Article 3 judge. Okay. You want to change venue. You do not want to be in the administrative process. Okay. So I know a lot of this stuff gets a little tricky, but just follow along for a while. And when you start doing your research based on the things that I'm saying, you will start to understand, okay, there's an administrative process and there's a judicial process. Child support is handled for the most part under the administrative process. When you start using these particular techniques to your advantage, the way that you get back in court, you can say, hey, I'm not getting a fair trial. I'm not getting a fair hearing on the administrative side. I want to change venues. I would like to have my case heard by an Article 3 judge. I would like to change venue. Okay. So you can do that. And that's another great way to get in court. And the last thing, and there's plenty more, but the last thing that I'll touch on how you can get a new court date is you can put in a motion and even an affidavit. Okay, you're going to do an affidavit of termination to terminate your child support case. And when you do that, you want to have a strong reason for doing it. So you terminate your child support case based on lack of jurisdiction, based on due process violations, based on constitutional violations. And with that affidavit, you also want to attach a motion to dismiss. And in that motion to dismiss, you're basically requesting and asking that the court will dismiss your case based on the circumstances of lack of jurisdiction, the due process violations, and or the constitutional violations. All of these things are very important, but getting a new court date is top priority in your strategy. So it should be very obvious that if you're going to take and run with this play, make sure that you've gathered all your evidence, okay? You need to have evidence to support the facts of the things that you're saying when it comes down for why your case needs to be dismissed, why you feel that you deserve a modification, so forth and so on. So for instance, it might be you were fired. You can get that letter or that notice from your job that they're letting you go. You can use that to your advantage. If your pay has changed, you can have those pay stubs as your evidence to show this is what my new pay is in comparison to what the old pay is. If you were in prison for longer than 180 days, you can show, hey, I've been in prison, I've been incarcerated for all this time, and therefore I qualify for modification. Just make sure that you have the evidence. Okay. Now, here's a few tools that you'll need when you're going to go get a new court date. Basically, templates. We have plenty of templates available to help you out with this particular process and situation. We like to make things easy for you here at Title 4D University. So you can get these templates and you can add to them. You can take things away from it. You can make it suit you and fit what you need so that you can file it with the courts and get the remedy that you are looking for. The next step, guys, preparation. Preparation equals confidence. So many times I've dealt with individuals who've been my students. They come to my classes, they learn things, but they are not prepared. They wait until the last minute and then they want to start to get ready. If you are prepared, this will basically secure your spot to guarantee that you'll be in the best position when it comes down to getting the remedy that you're looking for. Okay. So how do you prepare? Number one, you want to organize your documents. Any case laws and things that you want to mention, have them prepared, have them ready. Okay. Have them set up. Any evidence that you have, anything that you want to present to the court, make sure you're prepared along with your notes. Reorganize your notes, put them in a particular order that you're going to be able to flow through it when you're in that court process. That way you don't get trapped up. That way you don't get stuck or lost, or you're fumbling through paperwork trying to make things happen. Being prepared is probably top tier when it comes down to getting the courts to listen to you, for them to hear what it is that you got to say. Because when they see that you're prepared, they're more likely to listen. They're more likely to hear what you have to say and give you the benefit of the doubt. Okay. And when it comes down to being in the courtroom, very simple in preparation. A folder. Okay. Have a folder, have some sticky notes, maybe different colors, where you can put names or notes or labels on those sticky notes, and you can use that for your preparation. Having those sticky notes and having that folder will allow you to have everything in one spot, and you can just go through it. You want to flow. It's all about having a good flow. Okay. A lot of reasons why you can win a case won't necessarily be the fact that you have arguments that you want to object to or anything, but literally because you have so much confidence and you're so prepared that you might throw that magistrate and that judge off, because they're not used to that. They're not used to people coming into the court being as prepared. So you want to go and show that you're prepared to handle all these things. Plus, it will help you to articulate your points clearly. And that's the most important thing that you want to do. You want to be very clear as into the things that you're saying. Get that magistrate or that judge to hear you. Make them think about what it is that you're saying. And it increases your chances. Even if the results aren't immediate, it increases your chances, because as you go from one court date to the next, you will be in the best position because you've just been so prepared with your paperwork, your documents. You present yourself very clearly. This helps immensely. Make sure that you're prepared when it comes down for court. All right, so next I want to talk about how do you overcome a lot of challenges that you will face when you're dealing with the child support and the custody courts. Okay, let's talk about the most common fears. Most people believe that, well, this state sides with women, or they believe a lawyer or some type of legal expert who will tell you, well, that doesn't work like this here. This is a common fear, that people feel that they're going to learn this information, they're going to go to court, and they're not going to be heard. Well, the way that you deal with those particular challenges and those particular objections is when you're speaking from a factual standpoint, then you're looking for the objection to be upheld by factual points. Okay, what does that mean? So you may say, well, you're violating my right to due process because you never gave me a notice, I never had a hearing, or the person who made a decision is not a neutral decision maker. And you can back that up with evidence. There's no record of you receiving any notice. There is no record that shows that you had a court date. And because of 42 USC 658A, the person who made the decision is not neutral because they are incentivized. So this is the evidence that you have. Now, when the courts, say the judge, the magistrate, referee, or whoever, when they come at you and they say, well, we don't have to do this, or you've already signed this and this makes because you signed it, you volunteered, so you can't argue that. They need to show factually, okay? They need to show that same evidence that you would have to show. If they don't show it, you can object and you can say, because there's a lack of evidence, I cannot take your word for what you're saying. I studied the law. I don't see that it says that you are allowed to proceed in the way that you're proceeding. So that's just one of the ways that you can deal with the objections that you're probably going to face in the courthouse. And let me say this. If you find yourself in a position to where the judge is totally disregarding you, the judge is ignoring you, they muted you on the Zoom call, right? Or the judge intimidates you and tells you, hey, if you say this, if you move this way, I'm going to arrest you. First of all, you can only be arrested for disrespecting the court or not following a particular court order. So don't fall for their intimidation tactics. It's just that. It's just to kind of shake you up and scare you a little bit. Stand tall, stand firm. Don't be disrespectful. Always keep your composure. Allow them to do or say what they need to say and just object to it. And if all luck fails, if you feel that you're ignored, if you feel that they've been intimidating you, all you need to do is when that particular hearing is over, file for an appeal. You'll go in front of a different judge and you get to demonstrate and show how the judge was ignoring you, how you have a right to be heard under due process, and how the intimidation factor played a part, which is a violation under the color of law. And that person can actually be held personally liable, which means you could file a lawsuit later on down the line. Now, I'm so confident that everything that I told you will help you. I'm so confident that I don't care what your situation is, you can have your child support case terminated completely. You can get 50-50 custody of your children without a shadow of a doubt if you follow these methods and these procedures. Matter of fact, I want you to check out the testimonial from one of my students, Sosa, who lives in Vegas.
Yo. This video right here, man, is confirmation that my man Dev know what he's talking about. Yesterday, received a letter in the mail. Case closed. Arrears terminated. You know what I mean? He put me on game, a couple classes, a one-on-one, watching the free game, watching the lives. At first, I was a little bit lazy, can't lie. Once I started doing my homework, remedy. But it all started with my man Dev, you know what I mean? So you gotta shout out my man Dev. Appreciate it, bro. Appreciate the time you put in. You know what I mean? Hopefully one of y'all can get remedy, you know what I mean? Next step. We'll talk about that later.
Now here's what Federico from Brooklyn, New York had to say about working with Dev Hock at Title IV-D University.
I go by the name of Federico Valencia. And salute and blessings to my teacher, to the professor Dev Hock. And we have something called the mock trial, which helped me out in my situation. Mind you, the whole time I'm sick and laid up in the hospital, I started certifying letters and notarizing them, something I didn't do before. And as I was laid up in the hospital, I'm not working. My arrears is piling up. After sending them off, them letters certified and notarized, after they received that letter that I wrote out in June, mind you, my arrears was like $7,000. License already suspended, passport already revoked and gone. By the time September 1st hit, after all of them letters, again, I got back my passport, my license, and my arrears was. But again, tuning into Dev Hock really opened my brain, and I manifest a lot of what the brother was saying from the jump. Another thing that helps is purchasing when he got the clearance on the low. So fast forward in the story, I'm clear on my passport, my driver's license, and the arrears with everything that I learned from Dev.
Check out this testimonial.
Hey, yo, I want to give a shout out to my boy Dev. You know, without you, this was impossible. So I have my court date today. I hit him with the special appearance. I do not swear in. The violation of the due process. You know, they was looking at me like I was speaking another language, but I was speaking their language. Fellas, get your training. Learn your rights. Go, you know, buy all the books, the blueprints, because you're going to need this. Shout out my boy Dev, because without you, this was impossible. Case dismissed today, baby. You heard? Yo, Dev, I'm going to holler at you when I get to PA, you heard?
All right, man, that's pretty much it on how to get started. So let's do a quick recap. All right, number one, you have to change your mindset. A proper mindset will get you a victory if you execute and do the things that is necessary just by changing the way that you think. The old way is gone. It's time to apply the lessons that you've learned and run in there with confidence, and you'll get that success. All right. Make sure that you're doing the proper research. Okay. Study, study, study is the thing that I say, because you're dealing with people who have mastered ways to deceive you. They've mastered ways to make you feel that what they're doing is lawful, what they're doing is legit, is not. Make sure that you do your research so that you can go in there and fight and get the best results. Okay. And the next thing is to make sure that you build and execute on a proper strategy. Strategy, preparation, all of these things will get you to the finish line with the victory that you can be able to give me a testimonial like one of the guys that I've shown you just now. Okay. So I would like to make an offer to you guys. This is not for everybody, so please, you do not have to feel obligated to do so. You're going to receive a link right now to go ahead and get the free gift that was promised to you, and that is the ebook on how to get started fighting child support. But if you're like, Dev, everything that you told me, I like it, but I need more. I need you to show me. I need you to walk with me. I have a group coaching session that will give you all the techniques. I'll help you with the strategy. I'll help you formulate that plan that you need for yourself so that you can get the victory. All you got to do is schedule a call with me right now. Now, this call is not a consultation. This is a quick call just to tell you what you'll get inside of the group coaching. The group coaching package is normally $800, but for anybody that's watching this webinar right now, you can get it for just $400. That way you know the price. You know what it is. There's nothing hidden. There's no secret cost or anything like that. If you want to book that discovery call to see if we can actually work with you, to see if you're a good fit, to see if we can get you the results that you're looking for, go ahead and click the link below. Go ahead and book your call right now. Get on the calendar. I'll give you a call. We'll break things down and see what we can do. Let's get working, man. You can win your child support case. You can win your custody case without a shadow of a doubt. You just need the right tools and you need a proper plan. Let's make it happen. Child support is not meant to help you. Child support was not put together to benefit your children. They use that as a disguise to deceive you. Okay. Your ignorance is what's holding you in this position. No longer are we going to move in this way where we're just doing things blindly and we're just accepting whatever it is that they're giving to us. You need to fight back. If you fight back, you will win. For anyone who feel like, maybe the coaching is a little out of my league, I'm not able to afford that, then I really encourage you to join Title 4D University. I implore you and I encourage you to get one of the many resources that I have. I have boot camp training videos. I have so many training videos. I can show you how to sue child support. I have plenty of ebooks. All you got to do is click the link below here so that you can get access to the store where you can see everything that is available to you. Your success is now in your hands. You cannot moan and cry about not getting any type of result or any type of success if you don't do anything. I'm telling you this with love. I've done it myself. I've helped over 139 people win their child support case. Are you going to be the next one? It's your boy Dev Hawk, Title 4D University, your coach, teacher, professor, and I'll see you in the next video. Let's go.